Hi, my name is Tim Poffenbarger, and I am a solutions architect at GitLab, and I would like to take some time to talk through different ways that GitLab CI evaluates your GitLab YAML and the options it provides. And the intent behind this is to help dispel some of the mystery behind pipelines for merged requests, merged result pipelines, and merged trains. They all use a lot of the same words, and sometimes it can be a little bit confusing. The heart of how I'm going to approach this is we're going to run through this question. How does GitLab evaluate changes to your code repository to determine which jobs to run for a given pipeline? Historically, GitLab has utilized these only and except parameters within jobs to help evaluate only what jobs to run for a given pipeline. How this has been evaluated in the past, though, is just the very last commit for a given merge request. So if you have a merge request and you have 20 changes, the very last commit is what's going to be looked at to determine which only and except parameters are being met or not met. From there, we introduce this merge request pipelines. These are enabled when you use the workflow and rules syntax, and they evaluate commits from all of a given merge request's commits. So if you have 20 commits, it will look at all of those 20 commits to determine which rules and which jobs are applicable for a given pipeline. This was a necessary step for us to take in order for us to achieve pipelines for merged results. So pipelines for merged results build upon merge request pipelines and are enabled via a settings change. This is a premium and ultimate only feature and only available to a merge request when it is not in draft mode. And what it will do is it will evaluate commits from all of a given merge request commits along with the merged changes from the upstream or target branch. So if you have changes that are going on in your default branch, the merge request will evaluate both those changes as well as the changes being applied to your merge request. And then lastly, all of these are predicated on the need for merge trains. So being able to queue multiple merge requests and allow those merge requests to be executed in such a way that is trustworthy so that you can have multiple merge requests ready to be merged back into that default branch and all receiving the previous merge request changes. So let's walk through an example. Here's a source code repository. It stores both application code as well as infrastructure as code. It's got a GitLab YAML file and a README file. This merge request is also one commit behind the target branch. It's in draft mode. And historically, this is how your default configuration files have been set up. So you have this. What I'm going to be doing in this is I'm evaluating this TF test. So anytime I'm making changes into this Terraform directory, or my GitLab YAML file, I want this test script to run. Anytime I'm making changes into my app directory, I want this app test to run. And then this always job is always going to run regardless of what changes are going on. And so let me go ahead and make a change real quick. And I'm going to apply this. And when I pull up my pipeline tab over here, what's going to happen is it's going to kick off a pipeline. And this pipeline is then going to show me exactly what I feared. So again, within this merge request, all of the changes, all these directories have been applied. So my hope was that the TF test job would run, the app test job would run, and this always job would run. But unfortunately, what ended up happening is this always job ran, and because it only evaluated my very last commit here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom because I've applied this same logic except via the merged result pipelines. Pipelines for merge requests. And I'm going to commit this change real quick, and then I'm going to walk you through it, and then I'm going to apply a second change. So within here, we have this workflow. The workflow is really handy because what it's going to do is it's going to prevent two pipelines from running. If we didn't have this workflow set, what's going to happen is this type of pipeline would run and a rules type pipeline would run. And part of the reason is that is being prevented is because we're actually looking for this merge request IID. Within here, we're simply changing only to rules, and then we're making this a list instead of a key value pair, and same exact files, and then this rules when always for this always job. Let me go ahead and add a second change and commit that change. And what we'll see is this pipeline come up again. So right now it's at 595, and now we have 342. So let's pop this open. And now we'll actually see, I didn't make any changes beside this, this minor change to this README file. But it noticed that the whole merge request had changes in the app directory and that Terraform directory. So it's going to go ahead and evaluate those jobs as well, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Let's go ahead and head over to settings. So within the project settings general, there's a merge requests section, and we're going to enable results for merged pipelines. And I'm going to save these changes. And now I'm going to head back over here, and I'm going to click on pipelines, and I'm going to run another pipeline. And so right now we can see that these are running as detached. What this is saying is this is detached from the default branch where this is being merged into, and it's just letting you know that that is happening. And if I run this pipeline again, you can actually see that it's doing the exact same thing, even though I've enabled that setting, which is a little bit confusing because I have this enabled merged result pipeline. So I was hoping that it was going to show a new pipeline that was no longer detached, but it failed to do so. And the reason it did that is because we're still in draft mode. We don't want upstream changes to that default branch, to that target branch, to impact or break any of my CI/CD pipelines while I'm still in draft mode. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this as ready. And now that it's ready, I'm going to run this pipeline again, and let's see what happens. Now you can actually see that this commit SHA has changed because now it's merging all of those changes together, which is really convenient. And now if I go ahead and open up this pipeline, it's always job. And let me show you something real quick. So right here, you can actually see that I don't have, I have an app directory, a TF directory, a GitLab YAML file, and a README file. But in my master branch, I have this fancy file that I added. So when I look at this pipeline, you'll actually, what we're going to do is we're going to list out all of the changes within this always job, ls-l. So when this job shows up, you can actually see this fancy file was added because it merged all of those changes, which is really convenient. Lastly, what you can do within your settings is you can enable merge trains, which would then allow your merged results to be queued. So what this looks like is I'm going to enable merge trains, and now historically, now when I look at this merge request, rather than it immediately saying merge back into that target branch, you can start that merge train. And now I can add this to many concurrent merge requests, and they will be queued whenever they're clicked start merge train. That's it. Thanks for joining. Hopefully this was helpful. This was really helpful for me.